You've probably heard people online say rental properties are passive income, that they just print money every single month. But today I'm going to show you the real numbers from my actual rental properties, including the repairs, the maintenance, the vacancies, and the cash flow that's actually left over at the end of each month. And honestly, the numbers are probably not what most people would expect. I own 2 rental properties here in Ohio, and in this video I'm going to break down exactly how much rent they're bringing in, what expenses will kill the cash flow, how much I reserve for repairs, and what I actually profit after everything is accounted for. No fake guru math. No, this property makes $3,000 a month nonsense. Just real numbers from a small landlord. So today I'm opening up the books and showing you exactly what my rentals actually make. So without further ado, let's take a look here. So I own 2 properties, both in the northeastern Ohio area. Property number 1 is a 3-bed, 1-bath, 1,100 square foot home with an unfinished basement. Now, a couple of things about the property. The roof was replaced in 2023. I purchased the home in 2024. New appliances were installed in 2024 prior to the purchase. Hot water heater and furnaces and the furnace was replaced in 2019. And there is no central AC. That is a touchy area right there. Some people prefer to have central AC in the house because it adds value. From a maintenance perspective, having no central AC is a maintenance item that you can dodge. With that property, the tenant's responsible to have window units to cool his house. That's not something I have to maintain, which helps keep expenses lower. The property rents is $1,100 a month, and here's an outline of the expenses. Property taxes, I use a property management company. They charge 10% right off the bat each month to collect rent, to handle any issues with the tenant, to screen the tenant prior to them moving in. They do a background check. They do there's income verification requirements so that to minimize the likelihood that their income is going to be below what they can actually afford in terms of the rent at my place. And then they hold on to and collect the deposit, the security deposit for any type of potential damages that they would cause. So right off the bat, those are some big expenses, fixed expenses. I did negotiate the property taxes a little lower, but unfortunately, just like many places in the U.S., property taxes are on the rise. Repairs and capital expenses, I've estimated, this is a more conservative estimation, but withholding 20%. Repairs, obviously miscellaneous things that may go wrong with this house. We'll get into it later, but I hired a guy to come out and replace a section of the gutters on the second floor. There was a strong windstorm that came through the Akron and Cleveland area, and it tore off a big section of my gutters that cost me $400. So the repair reserves helped to because of their saving for the repairs, we were able to pay for that directly. Not a big deal. And then holding back for capital expenses because the roof's eventually going to need to be replaced. The hot water tank, hopefully not anytime soon, but that may fail. Appliances fail. Holding back for those types of expenses. Property insurance, and then a estimation of reserves for potential vacancies. Okay, and so the total estimated expenses is $7,220. Gross rents $13,200, and then the net operating income obviously is revenue minus expenses. That turns out to be $5,980. So obviously that's quite a bit lower than $13,200. Again, this is a more conservative way to run the numbers. Everybody does it differently. But I don't want to be caught in a bad position metaphorically if there should be a very expensive repair that would need to be done, need to be taken care of right away. So I try to err on the side of caution. Real world numbers for year 2026. Like I said, we had to pay $400 for the gutter repair. I try to do as much repair work as I can. This was on the second floor and kind of a difficult, or second story on a difficult uh, spot to access with a ladder. I didn't feel comfortable doing the work. I was concerned about falling off the ladder, injuring myself, all that. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and paid for somebody to come out and do that. Another $20 were spent on miscellaneous supplies, like sheet metal screws, and then like little uh, sheet metal to attach the downspouts back to the house. The wind ripped those off, unfortunately, and then we had to get some new hangers for the gutters on the back of the property. The back of the property was much easier to access with ladders, so and the gutter itself wasn't completely ripped off. It was just partially disconnected, so I did that work myself, and that was pretty cheap to do. Now, obviously, we had withheld, what was it, almost $2,700 for repairs. We're well below that, and obviously, when I'm doing the repair work, assuming we're not getting into expensive things to replace, the repair costs are going to be pretty nominal. Okay. But again, even with the one repair, hauling in a professional to do the work, we're still well below the estimated and allotted amount. So property number 2 is a smaller house. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath, 990 square foot home. A few details about the property. When I bought the property was slightly distressed compared to property number 1. Property number 1 was pretty much move-in ready. The kitchen had just been updated. There was a few things that I needed to do. The predominance of what I needed to do here to get it rent ready was a good clean. Property number 2 is a much different story. We had to do some more involved work in 2025 when we bought this. But part of the deal when we bought it, we knew that the roof needed to be repaired or replaced soon. So roof to be replaced. Somebody's coming out in the next couple of weeks to replace it. The furnace is older, but in good working condition. Stove was brand new. Fridge, I think within like 5 or 10 years old, but in good shape, good functioning shape. Hot water heater, again, 5-ish years old. And again, just like I like it, no central AC. This is a smaller home, 2 beds. It's two true beds. We converted one of the spaces on the ground level into a 3rd bedroom. But in terms of if we were listing it to sell, it would be a true 2-bed, 1-bath home. So $1,000 a month. Property taxes are a little lower here. The property taxes in Summit County are, at least in my situation, predominantly based on purchase price. Since this one was a lot cheaper than the first property that I bought, property taxes are a lot lower. I was able to negotiate that down quite a bit, which is wonderful. Property management fees the same, 10%, holding back the same amount, same percentage for capital expenses. And in this year, for example, we're going to spend a lot more than $2,400 because of the roof. Okay, but again, if you're holding back 10% for repairs, 10% for capital expenses every year, by the time it comes due to do the rent, new roof, should be in good shape. So insurance, vacancies, $5,900 in terms of total reserves. Gross rent's $1,200. Net operating income $6,100. Again, real world numbers for 2026. This one's going to be a bad year because of the roof. $6,300 to replace the roof. Beyond that, $75 for some miscellaneous repair work that I've had to do. A lot of that was shingling on the shed that's in the outside, and a new kitchen faucet. Aside from that, there were I had to come out for a couple of service calls to unclog drains, but I already had the tools to do that, so it cost me my time more than anything else. Gross rent for the properties, a little over 25 grand. Combined expenses, $13,120. So the total net operating income for both properties is $12,080. Okay. Now again, This is operating from a very conservative standpoint, meaning that, again, with my first property, if I had to replace the roof tomorrow for whatever reason, I want to be able to have the money to be able to do that, and not have to take out a loan, not worry about where the money's coming from, or rob Peter to pay Paul. So that's why I hold back like that. In all reality, to be completely honest, my strategy has been really holding back just about everything in order to fund property number 3. We're in the negotiating stage right now for a third property, a 3-bed, 1-bath, where nothing's finalized yet, but the rental income, we've just been letting it bank and bank and bank, so that we've got money for earnest money for the purchase of the next property, to help with down payment, to help with the building inspection. So we're paying for less of that out of our personal money. The goal is to withhold as much as possible so that we can scale quicker. If we're constantly drawing that money out and spending it on I don't know, lifestyle choices or whatever, then scaling is going to be much harder. That's what I've chosen to do. I think this makes the most sense. I want to scale, I want to grow, because as it is right now, like the numbers we're showing, the difference between net operating income and gross rent's pretty substantial, and this is great given the volume of work that the limited commitment that I've had to put in. It isn't completely passive income. People that tell you that don't know what they're talking about. Because again, I've had to show up there on Saturdays to fix the downspouts. I've had to show up there throughout the week to clean out the sink drains, to replace faucets, dumb stuff like that. If it's completely passive, that means you're never going over there. So that's not true. But my goal, what I want to do, is scale so the net operating income grows and grows and grows and grows, and I have less reliance on my primary source of income from my day job. So I hope that helps. This video was in response to another YouTuber's comment. If you have any questions, any other types of content you'd like to see, just drop a comment and let me know. We'll make it happen.